And then we have our next question, which says the following question will ask you to provide a line of missing code. The following program is submitted to output observation from dataset 1 that have more than one record per patient. So it is saying that the program is intended to output only the observation from dataset 1 that have more than one record per patient. So let us examine the code provided. We have a proc sort step sorting the dataset 1 and outputting it to 2 based on the values present in subject ID variable. And then again, dataset 2 has been used on the set statement and on the data statement, and it actually has specified that inside the code here. So we are expected to provide the missing line of code which would have achieved the outcome, that was to output observation from dataset 1 that have more than one record per patient. So, and here in the next line, if we see if first dot subject ID not is equal to 1 or last dot subject ID not is equal to 1, then output. So both of these first dot subject ID is equal to 1 and last dot subject ID would be 1 only if there is only one record per subject. So the question here is to insert the code which would have actually created this first dot subject ID variable and last dot subject ID variable. So in order for the first dot subject ID variable and last dot subject ID variables to be created, we need to tell SAS that we are initiating by group processing. So we initiate by group processing within a data step by specifying a data statement, and it will create those many number of variables equivalent to the number of by variables specified. So here we are making use of first dot sub JD and last dot sub JD. So at least we should have a by statement with sub JD variable, at least by sub JD variable present on that by statement in order for this code to work properly. So let us see the options provided and see if we have a by statement which has sub JD variable in it. So the first option says where sub JD. So where sub-JD actually filters for the rows where sub-JD is not null. So this is not what we are looking for. And in the second option, it says by sub-JD. So this seems to be the correct option, but let us examine the other options before we conclude that this is the correct answer. And in the third option, we have a by statement which says use sub-JD. But if we take a look at the variables that have been used, first dot sub JD and last dot sub JD. For variables first dot sub JD and last dot sub JD to be available for processing, it has to be by sub JD. We are not sure whether there is a variable named u sub JD in the input data set or not, but if we specify by u sub JD, we will not have first dot sub JD and first dot last dot sub JD will be created. The variables that gets created are first dot u sub jd and last dot u sub jd, but that's not is used here. And then in the last option it says if sub jd. So what would this condition do is it would actually have filtered only those rows which have a non-missing value of in the sub jd variable. So the second option is the correct option. So it said our response was the by statement with a sub jd variable in it, and the correct response is also by statement with sub JD in it.